This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction to every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields, and man, it's good to be back, guys. I missed doing the postcast. I hope all of you missed the postcast. And what a game to come back to. And if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, make sure you guys go over there at Johnny10. Shields was super active on there today, like I normally am. So again, just I tweeted it. I said it. Just a dream start for the Rays to come back from the All-Star break. This is what you wanted. And I said in the episode before the All-Star break, I try to be as optimistic as possible. I said, here's how the Rays can attack, especially this first part of the second half schedule. And this is a massive, massive step in the right direction to doing that. So in this one, we're going to talk about how this is the best lineup the Rays can put out, how good Taj Bradley is. I think Taj's performance is being a little bit overshadowed because of how good the offense was, but he was awesome. How big of a bounce back win this was, how versatile this offense is, how many different ways they can beat you. And we're going to look ahead to see how the Rays can win a series. But first, we're going to be talking about how dominant this win was.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And it got started right away. Taj Bradley came out and he made it a point to throw that fastball and cutter. We'll get to that more when we talk about Taj, but we're going to go right to the turning point because when the Rays got Simpson on with the double, I immediately thought to myself, the Rays got to score here. It would be so important for them to score first. If you guys remember in Boston, they scored one run in 18 innings. So I thought it was imperative for the Rays to score first. And not only did they score first, they scored in a big way. And that's how we get to our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's the junior 3-run home run. Second longest home run by a Rays player this year. And you could just hear it. That ball sounded like a bomb coming off the bat of Junior's bat. I mean, just incredible from Junior. And there's a lot of people, and myself included, you tend to think when someone does the All-Star with the home run derby, how would that affect his swing? I always thought that was a little bit overblown. But, I mean, Junior was fantastic tonight. We're going to double up because he was also our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
How about 3 for 5, 2 home runs? Even his out in the 8th inning was just an absolute rope. So he's seeing the ball, and I think what Junior's doing can have kind of an impact like the World Baseball Classic had on Randy coming into the year where the Rays started 13-0 and all that. Randy came back from the World Baseball Classic invigorated. Randy, like Junior, is a guy that loved being in the moment, and Junior was in the moment more than ever over the week and over technically the first part of this week. And I think that what this is going to do to his confidence, which is already sky high, and just the impact it's going to have on this team, I think it's going to be eerily similar to how good Randy was in the first half of that year coming off the World Baseball Classic. It's because both of them play with such fire and emotion and wanting to get the crowd into it. So I think that will only help Junior. And you saw it today. He was unbelievable. Yes, his second home run was a Steinbrenner special. That ball was only a home run in a Steinbrenner field, but it doesn't matter because that's where he was playing tonight. But he was so good. Even that single he hit, he ripped. I think it was 108 off the bat. He was just special tonight. And Junior is at his best when he's hitting 5th in this lineup. And the Rays were able to do that. And we're going to talk about the Rays lineup later. But, man, this lineup is deep. And with Junior hitting 5th, it's like, okay, Brandon Lau strikes out. Yandy walks. Aranda gets out. It's like, okay, no, you might have a break. No, it's the starting third baseman in the All-Star game. And that's how the Rays can just keep coming at you in waves. And then the second inning, Danny Jansen gets a hold of one. When I go to look at Baseball Savant for some of those, I thought that one for sure was going to be one. That's only a home run at Steinbrenner and a few other places. That was a home run in 25 parks, so he really got a hold of that one. And Charlie Martin was kind of do or die with that curveball. He hung it to Junior, hung it to Danny Jansen, and other times it's just falling off the table. So this was a game the Rays had to win, in my opinion, because we'll talk about it when we look ahead. But you got Dean Kramer going on tomorrow, who the Rays have mightily struggled against. And then you got Rogers going Sunday, who is a lefty, who, again, the Rays struggled against in their one game this season. But they just kept going. Josh Lowe doubled, and I thought that was big because I predict Josh Lowe is going to have a big second half because his expecting batting average is very high. So it's about time that starts to even out a little bit. We saw a little bit of that in the third. And then obviously the 6th inning, the Rays just absolutely blow it open. It starts with Jake Mangum, who just plays the game with such joy, right, and such energy. I was watching the game with my dad, and he watches games, he keeps up, but he knows the top players, Yandy Diaz Jr. And when Jake Mangum comes up, he right away just like, man, like that guy plays hard, and he does, and that's infectious. You can feel it through the TV that he plays hard, and he manufactured a run. Him and Chandler Simpson are very, very similar in that range. When you have a guy like Jake Mangum who's hitting over 300, batting 7th tonight, your lineup's in pretty good shape. And then obviously basic get loaded, and then Yandy does what he does best. And his home run was only a home run in 2 parks, but he got Yandy is at his best when he's going up the field or to the opposite field. And that's very kind of rare for a right-handed hitter to be predominantly going up middle or to the opposite field, but that's what Yandy does. And the way that he got to that ball, and Doug Wechter said he had a great analysis. He's like, you don't want to throw a 2-seam to Yandy because he wants to go that way anyway. And he went that way with the ball and really did not miss it, deposited it into the seats. And at that point, everyone's just having fun. Junior comes back up, hits another home run, and the Rays were able to obviously cruise from there. So yeah, let me know in the guys' comments what you think about the Rays offense tonight. Obviously spectacular, and we'll just roll right into the lineup talking. This is the best lineup the Rays can put out there. I think Chandler hitting first is the move going forward. Obviously, he had 3 hits tonight. His hitting streak's like 1 million at this point. He's just been otherworldly. I don't even think the Rays thought he was going to be this good, bringing him up. And obviously, he had the incredible spring training. He's going viral for his speed, but his bat to ball and the way that he very rarely strikes out, he always puts bat on ball. And you need that out of your leadoff guy. So I think this copy and paste this lineup tomorrow. Actually, Matt Theis is definitely going to start tomorrow because it's going to be a lefty Sunday, but whatever. Copy and paste the first 8 batters in this lineup tomorrow. And I wonder how they're going to handle Kim and Brandon Lau still coming off the injuries, if they're going to still stagger those guys. Obviously, you want to play Cabby and Wall Sun, but man, I don't know how you saw what you saw today and don't just roll that lineup out at least 5 days a week, man. I mean, just special stuff. When you have Hyesung Kim, who is the highest paid free agent that the Rays have ever had, hitting 8th, that's pretty good. Danny Jansen, another guy you're paying a lot of money to, hitting 9th. I mean, there's just no breaks in the lineup. There's none like, finally, we got one. It's no, if Junior didn't get hit there, you got to see Josh Lowe. If Josh Lowe doesn't, you got to see Mangum. But in the Hyesung Kim, you're back to Simpson already. It's just one of the deepest lineups in Major League Baseball right now. And I think that's going to really propel the Rays in the second half. I mean, also in the comments, man, let me know what you guys think of this lineup. Is this the lineup that you think the Rays should be using every day? Because I sure think so. If not, who do you guys think should be in it instead? So, the fan in me really wants to kind of jump on this bandwagon immediately, right? So one game of this, you see this lineup, it's like, oh, here we go. But you still have to kind of have that, the realism that, okay, this was probably the highest of the high. Like, this was a dominant 11-run performance. The Rays could come out the same lineup and score 2 runs tomorrow. I sure hope not, but I think this lineup is the best way of success for the Rays going forward. But we still have so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about how incredibly fantastic Taj Bradley was. We're still going to talk about how versatile this offense is with their speed and power. We're going to look ahead to how the Rays can win a series tomorrow right after this. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned and the promotions are the best part. So you could have 40% profit boots on, the whatever Sunday night baseball game might be happening, or, on a Nerfy bet that might happen every single day. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Again, if you guys are in the live, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And for your comments, let me know. What do you guys think about the Rays offense? What do you guys think about this lineup? What do you guys think of Taj Bradley? Because that's who we're going to talk about next, because he was otherworldly. And there's something I wanted to point out with Taj Bradley specifically. He was really heavy on fastball cutter today. He was really all about the fastball cutter. In fact, he threw the fastball today 56% of the time. He threw the cutter 31% of the time. He threw a combined curveball and split, quote unquote, his off-speed pitches only 11 times. And that's something that is pretty unusual. Normally, Taj really likes to mix in that slider, mix in the curveball as well. And he did get one of his strikeouts on the curveball, but another quality start: 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, and it was really dominant. And until that 6th inning when he got a runner on third, he was really cruising for the most part, and that was so encouraging to see because I think Taj is about to break into one of those, and he might already be in the middle of it, of one of those stretches where he's like one of the best pitchers in baseball, like he was last year. It might not be as dramatically high as last year, but he could easily come through and allow 6 earned runs over his next 5 starts. Like that could be the stretch that we're getting into for Taj. And if that's the case, I mean, you look at this Rays rotation and you don't really look at anyone and kind of holding your breath when you go out there. Shane Baz still a little bit because he's kind of erratic at times, but the rest you're kind of superbly confident in if Taj Bradley can start rolling like this. But even Shane Baz, not to speak down on Shane Baz, I mean, he's still been fantastic recently. So again, I could not say enough good things about Taj, and I think it's really interesting, something to look out for his next start. Well, which he will start against the White Sox on this homestand. If he's still predominantly fastball cutter, or if that was just a matchup thing. And it was really good to see the Rays. It's really good to see Taj Bradley beat the Orioles because the Orioles have kind of had his number. And my buddy Marco showed me this stat that this Rays Orioles kind of season series has been crazy. It's like the Rays lead the season series like 52-48 in terms of runs scored. Because remember, the Rays had a crazy comeback where they scored a bunch of runs. The Orioles scored 22 runs in one of those games against the Rays put up 11 runs today. So just something interesting there. But before we look ahead, I want to quickly touch on the offense again because they're just so versatile, man. I mean, the way that they hit 4 home runs tonight. Jake Mangum stole a base and almost basically scored from second on a routine kind of pop fly because that's the pressure that the Rays put on you. Chandler Simpson got a bunt single. It's just they beat you in so many different ways. They can beat you with speed. They can beat you with power. They can beat you with finesse. They can beat you with situational hitting. And this is stuff you weren't saying last year. That's the kind of switch this Rays offense has done. It's because of how deep this lineup is and how many different ways it can beat you is perfectly entwined with how deep this offense is. So again, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. But let's look ahead to the game tomorrow. Zach Littell will be taking the mound for the Rays. 7:00 Saturday start. That one kind of stunk up on me too. So 7:00 Saturday start, and Zach Littell will be going up against Dean Kramer, who has had the Rays number this year. But let's look about what he's done recently. He went 7 innings of shutout baseball in his last outing against the Marlins. The time before that, it was a struggle against the Braves. 4 1/3, 5 earned runs. But again, the time before that was against the Rays. Combined against the Rays this year, he's got 12 innings, 7 hits, only giving up 1 run, 10 strikeouts. So he's been filthy against the Rays. It's been no secret. And I think the key for kind of this stretch, especially this homestand, is the Rays scoring first. If the Rays win tomorrow, they put themselves in a fantastic position to go 4-2 on this homestand. It's just you can start to get greedy if you win tomorrow. And that's the position the Rays can go in because Zach Littell has just been the model of consistency this season. 8-7 with a 3.5 ERA. He is going to give up that home run a game. You're just going to have to live with it. And because that's really all he's been giving up lately. His last time out was against the Tigers, one of the only games the Rays won on that trip. He went 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs. That's all he's been doing. All he's been doing is giving quality starts. Again, it's that number since April 10th. He's only had 1 start where he's given up more than 3 runs. And that's all you can ask for your pitcher is to go give you a quality start. 6 innings, 3 runs or less. And that's all Zach Littell has been doing for the Rays. Expect the Orioles to bounce back tomorrow. Expect the Orioles to come out, with a punch. And how I think it's a benefit to Zach Littell pitching at night because during the day the ball could fly a little bit more. So I don't know how much stock is put into that actually, but on a hot day like tomorrow is going to be, the ball tends to fly a little bit more. So hopefully Littell can kind of start to shut it down a little bit like he has been doing. I mean, he just goes out there, continues to be consistent as always. But now it's time to get to the comments like we always do. We'll start with Jack's takes because this is a game we needed. Coming back and never take the foot off approach. We need to keep going forward. He said, delicious, but more please. Delicious is a nice adjective to use it. And I agree. Got to keep going. Got to keep stacking days, stacking wins. Red Sox lost today. Yankees lost today. Blue Jays did win. And Seattle is playing now against Houston. So, again, Seattle loses. All of a sudden, the Rays are, just a half game back. And you're immediately kind of back on the right path of getting to where you want to get to, kind of the game plan that we articulated for them in the second half going into obviously the second half with this homestand. But again, the Rays are now just a game and a half back on Boston after Boston swept them in 4 games last time. As we go to I Love Lego, it says, good evening. We needed this so bad after a disastrous road trip. And again, disastrous was exactly the word to use for. As we go to Ezra, he says, we need to keep this sense of urgency going. I 100% agree. You see the Rays came out, played with confidence, played with a type of energy they haven't played with in a while, and a break can do that for you. I told you, I think the Rays really need to just get away from each other for a few days. And as we go to RG, and he said, what a long break it was. Certainly great to get things started again. I agree. It was a super long break, man. By about Wednesday, I was ready to get back doing the postcast. And it was obviously good to come back to do it on such a high note. I mean, I tweeted, you couldn't have started the second half better. As you go to Gary, it says, what a great night and week for the Rays organization. The announcement of the sale of the team with new owners saying they wish to keep the team in Tampa. The Rays All-Stars of Brandon Lau back. Yeah, Brandon Lau being back. And did they credit him? Let me double check. Did they credit him with a hit on that ball he laced? I sure hope they did. And they did. Deservedly so. So, yeah, he's back and, better than ever. As go back to Gary, and we talked about this Chandler Simpson's hitting streak and what he's been doing in the lead-up spot has just been fantastic. He has just been a wagon. That's the way I could describe him. Just an absolute wagon out of Chandler Simpson. As we go to Daryl Brooks, he says Bradley has a bad history with Baltimore. Not to see him have a game tonight. He absolutely did have a game tonight. It was so good to see him have this kind of outing against a lineup that's really giving him problems. And, I expect him to, like I said, don't be surprised if he goes on this stretch of, 6 earned runs his last 5 starts. So hopefully that's what we are in store for. As we go to Nuzzy, said, who should the Rays trade for? Interesting. Eric Nylander actually kind of talked about this. He said, hopefully, I think the Rays have 13 games before the All-Star break. So I think that if they're kind of in this spot, they'll add, but they won't add rentals. They added Nelson Cruz a few years ago. That was a rental because of where the Rays are at. They look to add guys with control like they did with the reliever they got from Baltimore. So look for people like that. I don't have anyone specifically in mind because, a lot of the time the Rays trade for people I'm not super familiar with and they turn into household names. So again, don't be surprised if it's someone like that. But I would look bullpen still. Maybe not as much as they're kind of committed Joe Boyle in the bullpen, but don't be surprised. Another bullpen arm. Let's go to Big D. He says, Rays up. Let's get back in first. Hopefully that is the track that the Rays can go on. Let's go to Mike H. He said, was this the first time Boyle coming in as reliever? Technically, no, because he was following Drew Rasmussen after those 2 innings. But this probably was the first time coming in as a reliever, like 6 innings later in the game. So, yeah, that's the kind of the 2 innings like he did today. It was really good to get him in that role in a blowout so he can get comfortable in it. And, he pitched 2 scoreless. As we go to Suzanne Nelson, as she says, what a great way to come back. A great win, an absolute great win. Couldn't ask for a better one. Like I said, is there going to be a day where Houston does not make the playoffs? I'm sick of seeing them in the postseason every time. They're a wagon, man. They're well coached, great organization. So I don't know. That's a good question. But any last comments? You guys get them in as we start to wrap up here. Again, we'll do a quick synopsis of everything we talked about. Super good to see Junior get out there and dominate like he did today. I mean, he just looked locked in. And again, I'm really comparing him to what Randy did coming off the World Baseball Classic. The year the Rays started like 14-0. Again, they both love the moment. They love being in the spotlight, and Junior was in the spotlight. And I think he's going to do everything he can to get back in that spotlight because, unfortunately, playing in Tampa Bay for some reason, even though people act like Tampa Bay is such a small market, like it's really not. It's small compared to obviously like New York, Boston, Chicago, LA, but like in the grand scheme of things, like Tampa Bay isn't like this super small market. Like Tampa Bay isn't like Memphis, for example. Not saying Memphis is, super small either, but but we'll see. Anyway, I say that to say the Rays getting in the playoffs, more people can see Junior, more people can see this Rays team, and I think Junior will live for that stage. So, we'll start to wrap it there, guys. I miss all of you. It was great to be back, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be talking about another Rays win. If you guys watched the whole thing, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be right back here tomorrow, right around the same time, because again, it's not a 4:00 game tomorrow. Sometimes Rays have been doing noon games. It is a 7 p.m. game tomorrow. So I hope to see you all then.